Hello everyone, it is Christine here and I have a video for you today all about small scraps of fabric and what you can do with them to store them and display them so you actually make use of them, and also how you can then take a selection from what you've got beautifully displayed and make a lovely trifold pouch. So I'll first of all talk about the fabric storage and then we'll move on to making the pouch. So this idea of storing your small scraps, so pieces sort of around this size or bigger or smaller, you can see there's even some tiny little ones in here as well, is that we roll them up and then we make a lolly jar or a lolly bowl of our fabric scraps. And I think this is just such a great way to have them displayed, but they don't get messy. They're not all jumbled up in a box put away in a cupboard where you don't see them, and you can very easily start to select out some coordinating scraps to use in a project. So I got this idea for the lollies from Beck from So Be Curated, who has a what looks like an amazing store. I've never been able to go there because I live quite a ways away in Newcastle, and she has, I think only in the store, I don't know if it's a bowl or a basket, but with what she calls fabric lollies. I'm pretty sure that's what she calls them. And so I thought, yeah, what fun to make my own lolly jar using my own vintage and reclaimed scraps of fabric. So I'll link to Beck's YouTube channel and store in the description below this video if you want to check her out, but she does have beautiful things in her shop, and she's also got an online shop as well. And so the idea I've got here is using what was actually one of those drink dispenser jars. It's actually got the bit where you put the little tappy bit in the front, but I'm just going to use it as a very large jar to keep some of my, particularly in this one, I've put some of my smaller floral prints and other sort of florally prints, as well as some spotty dotty and some stripy ones. So that's what I've done here. And then the other idea for displaying is to use like a basket or a bowl. This is actually a bowl that I put my those lovely marbles that I got recently at an op shop. They're in the bottom of it, but at the moment I've just put some of the more sort of plain or patterned fabric lollies in this one. So I just wanted to give you that a look at that as a bit of an idea also. But yeah, you could likewise sort them into different jars. I think there's something though rather nice about being able to see the different colours against each other, because I think that's going to help us when we want to start selecting across some of these for our project. I do have some other methods that I've shown in previous videos, which I will link to, for how you can store sort of larger pieces on postcards. So let me unravel this one so you can see the method. In fact, there's two bits stored there. I'll just demonstrate it with a single piece. So if you've got larger pieces, and as you can see, these are much larger than the scrap ones. I've got old postcards that were like promotional postcards. And then you just do a folding motion and fold it over, and then tuck it in. And so you can kind of get a bit practiced about what length and do some pre-folding before you fold it, so that you can actually make this little pocket where the end can then fold in. And then I keep these in drawers. So that's one of my fabric storage methods. Another one, which I've also shared a video on, which I'll link to, is how I store on comic book cards and just clip them on at the top. And then I can flip through and cut off sort of, yeah, sections of things off here as well. So I definitely do use these ones as well, and they sit in the little binder shelves next to me here. So I'll put this one back in the shelves. Sorry, I just bumped my light. And what we're going to then be making once I've shown you the method of rolling, which is very simple, probably don't even need to show you the method of rolling my lollies, we'll be making a simple version of a trifold pouch, which is basically a back section, a folded forward section, and a folded front flappy bit. So this is a lot more of a sort of embellished version of a trifold pouch, and in fact in this one I made extra pockets, extra decoration, but we'll be making a simple version of that. So I'll bring you down a little bit. and we'll roll some scraps to give you a bit of an idea. And I'll just, I might tip a few of these out as well, just so we've kind of got them for later when we want to start looking through them. So these are the lollies, because it'll be much easier not to be looking through the jar when we're looking together. So I'll put the jar down behind me. I'll put these lollies over to the side, and then let's grab a scrap of fabric. So say this is one of your scraps that you've had floating around in a container. There's a few different ways to do it. I've done a few different methods on these. If you don't want to have the raw edges and see little bits of the raw edges, you can fold your edges in like that. You could even do them equally from either side. And what I'm using to tie up my lollies is, a long time ago from the reverse art truck, I got this massive roll of elastic. So I have a bounty of this nice thin elastic, and I just tend to cut off a piece of this. You don't need too much. Have that there, and then I just roll from one end. Usually just start by folding a bit over and then just rolling it up like this to make my little lolly. And I guess they don't totally look like bonbons, but I guess the idea is they are attractive little morsels of beautifulness that you can then work with. Now what I like to do at the end is then fold the end in so that I don't then have sort of a rough edge. And then I grab my little bit of elastic and I tie it around like that. And then, yeah, I've just been sort of trimming the ends off a bit, because I do have plenty of elastic. Otherwise you could just sort of work off the roll and not waste any. So as simple as that. And so then let's start to have a bit of a look at how, if you've got all these out on display, how they might help you to then pick out some fabrics for a project. So I'm just going to sort of put them out as though they were in a basket or in front of me. And then let's work out a colour scheme. I haven't pre-thought through what I'm going to do here, so we'll be doing it on the fly. And we'll pick out a selection of fabrics from our lollies, and then I've got, as I say, some of the bigger prints over in the bowl there as well, or some more of the just solid prints if I want them to coordinate. So I was thinking it could be fun to pick one fabric that might kind of give us a bit of a colour story. So if you've got one that's got a few colours in it, like this yellow one, that could be kind of fun to pick out. And then this one's also got pinks and greens. So I think I'll go with that. I'll pick out another one because this has the nice sort of reference to the crosshatch. This then brings a bit of blue in. Maybe I'll leave that for another one. But I think this one could be lovely as well. I think I got this in my package, and it was the combined package from Christy and Sally, from when Christy visited Sally, and then Sally sent some things back and Christy sent me some other things. And then there's some yellow on this one as well, and some green. So we're getting a bit of a green yellow, and then I think I need to bring in a bit more pink, but I want to keep it nice and bright and light. That's got some blue, so maybe not that one. That pink could be quite nice. I think that's from a stash I got from a lady that was 92, and she was stopping her patchworking, and so I got a box of all different mixed fabrics. So I'm wanting to keep it bright and light. How would this one go? This one's not even a cotton, it's more of a sort of a woven fabric, but I keep a few of those in there. Probably a little, oh, that could work actually. It's just a very tiny little bit of woven fabric. Do I want some spots? Do I want orange? I think I want to stick more to the pinky colours. And these aren't all my scraps. This is just what I've been starting to do. I was having a very busy week at work this week, and in the evenings my brain was sort of so tired from the day that I was just having a little sort through scraps. That could be nice. Probably not that one. And then I've got a pile with some other scraps up here, so I can just have a look at those as well and see if anything else wants to make its way in. maybe a bit too big on the prints. Let me have a look over here as well if there's anything else from here. I do have a single yellow, green. Oh, this one could be good. It's got the green and the pink. Yes. What else do I have over in my bowl? Sorry, I can't get the bowl quite onto the surface at the same time. That's got blue, so I think I'll avoid that one. Was there anything else from here that I want to take? Maybe that green as well. And we said no to that because that's got the sort of bluey bits on it. Pinks, yellows. It's a bit more muted, that one. Anything else from here? Are you spotting anything that I can't see that you're thinking, oh, yep, Christine, you need to throw that in? But as you can see, you can do it with even small little pieces. But to me, to be able to just go to your lolly jar and start to pull some things out is a really great little resource. So I'll move the rest of these. That's more got purples, doesn't it? Although I don't mind that one. I'm going to pop that one over. And I think this is more orangey than what I want, isn't it, than my sort of hero piece, although I don't actually mind a bit of a clash. So, and then if I was going to do that, would I just bring a bit of other orange in? And I've got this one as well. Maybe I will, just to make sure I've got enough to play with. And I do also have this woven fabric, but it's more muted colours. I've got this, which is a sort of a more muted, so nope, no to that one. This garden fabric could actually be quite nice as well, so I'll pop that in. Okay, and so then what I'm going to be using to assemble my pouch on is some offcuts of, and let me just make sure we're sort of staying in focus, some offcuts of quilt. And again, I've sourced this from the Reverse Art Truck, and I know not everyone would have it. You might have like an old sort of quilt that you've chopped up. But as I was doing some sorting out around the house today, I thought, oh, another idea if you don't have a base like this is that you could use some old towels. So these are just bathroom hand towels. Sometimes they'll get some staining on them or something and won't wash up sort of bright white, or they might get a hole in them. But they're a great thing to have and use as a base. They'll give you a sort of a similar structure to this. I'd suggest you'll use two layers of it. So from a single hand towel you could cut it up and get two pieces approximately this size. Now you don't have to make it to this size. I don't know if I've got my, have I got a ruler here? I think this one's got a ruler on it. So what I'm using here is about 27 plus 6, about 33 centimetres lengthwise and about 21 centimetres width. But you don't have to make it that size. You can make it whatever size you want. These were just the size pieces that I got as samples from the Reverse Art Truck. And so yeah, in terms of a hand towel, it's actually about exactly, if you took it up to this point where it's got its braidy sort of edgy bit. And so I'd suggest you don't try and incorporate the very folded over edges, because that might be hard to stitch through. But I think the towel itself will actually be okay to, stitch through. But check yours to make sure it's not going to be a tricky surface. You could also use some blanket as well, would work really well, or some felt. So yeah, lots of possibilities. But this was just a bit of a reuse idea. So I'm going to use two pieces, because the way we're going to make our pouch is to cover two pieces and then to put them back to back. And to then fold them up into their trifold pouch. And don't worry that one bit will sort of overlap the other. That's going to give us a lovely little sort of design element also. And I'm going to show you a version where we get rid of the raw edges, but you can also do it without folding the raw edges over if you like that raw edge look. I just know some people don't like a raw edge look, so I thought I would give you that version. So what we're going to do is easily slip off our little ties for our lollies, because they'll be handy when we want to sort of, if we want to put some lolly back in. And then we're just going to get some bits of fabric that we can use for this project. See if this fabric will tear. Get rid of our little bits. So I'll probably just take one bit of each fabric, but if I do need more, I'll just keep my spares sort of out here. Our little ties over there. And so this is just a long length. So again, let's just cut a bit of it off. And I'll put that over there. I'm not going to worry about cutting this off because we're going to need some bits to fold over, so that will be fine. Then this one. So you can see tiny pieces, but they can become really lovely additions to your project. And how wonderful to actually put your scraps to good use and make them actually be really special. I think it was also because I was looking at Beck's site, So Be Curated, and she had some scrap packs, and I thought, oh, her things look so lovely. But then I remembered I actually have so many scraps, and I have so many lovely fabrics myself that it would be kind of silly to be buying a scrap pack when I can actually make my own attractive sort of little bundles. So this one actually has a bit more of the orange in it, so I'm actually glad. And I again didn't do this with planning, but I think it will be good to have the orange incorporated as a pop as well. I'm finding myself really attracted to the bright colors at the moment, so I'm definitely going with those. I might, because this is only 2 bits of fabric, I might use some of the spot on the inside pouch as well, because it seems a shame to just kind of roll that up again. Although I suppose then if I do another project, I'll have have that to go with it. We'll see. I'll put it up for now and see how we go. And so this one was already a pre-cut piece. And so this is a lovely a lovely gardeny fabric. I wonder if is it going to tear? Yes, I think it is. Okay, so I'll put, and I do have a place where I keep my very, very small scraps, which I cut up and make into my sort of mosaic material to be able to use in my mosaic type pieces. So this does have some other colours coming into it, but that's okay, I think. And again, I'll just get rid of a bit of the edgy bits, put them into my orts jar. So I put my bits that come off fabric into my jar of orts, which do come in as well, handy for a variety of projects I do using those. And yeah, if you didn't have the elastic, just use some twine, or you could use some strips of fabric as your little sort of lolly wraps. This I don't think will tear that well, so I might just cut a piece off instead. And we can always have a look if we want to trim some of these pieces down further and use some on the outside and inside as well. I just thought I'll start with some pieces. Now that's not a huge amount to begin with, so I might keep that out as is. This one's not a huge piece either. It does have that little bit of purple in it, but I think that's okay. This is something I had, I don't think this fabric was the one I had on my curtains as a child, but it's the same print that I had as a child. Really lovely. So now I'll leave that out in its whole form, and then we can decide if we cut it down. And then again, not a huge piece at all. I might keep this piece. I'll put this one down into my smaller scraps because I don't think I'll put that back into the lolly jar in that form. And looks like it's just got another little irregular edge there. See if that wants to tear off. Yep. Got this little one which I mentioned was more of a woven fabric, but it's got sweet little, it was a fabric sample piece from the reverse art truck. It's got sweet little flowers on it and perfect colour tone. And then we've got this one. Just take a piece of that. It's coming into dusk here. It was light outside before and now it is turning dark. Now this has blue on it, which I probably don't want, but I wonder if I just want to cut a couple of these little segments that we might be able to use as little embellishments. Put that one down with my scraps. Most of the colours are right. It's the pinks, the oranges, a little bit of red. Oh, there's a tiny bit of blue on that, but I'm not going to worry about that. Suppose I could have left a bit more of the blue and folded it over, but that's okay. This might be one where I don't fold it all under, but I'll keep that aside for embellishment. And then our last piece so far, but I can add other pieces in. As I say, I've got some other things yet to be rolled up into lolly size. This is probably one of my bigger pieces, but I just thought the print was so pretty. In fact, maybe I should work across the bottom of it like this. Okay. So here is our little selection. I might put them in some little sort of colour piles. Mixed, that's more my oranges. Greens and greens, that's a mixed one, isn't it? Orange, orange. Because I'm thinking as I sort of lay them out, I'll mix them up a bit. So let's start on one side, which can either be our inside or our outside, depending how we want to go. And I might start with pink, I think. So something I like to do when I'm doing this is use just a tiny bit of Yoo-hoo glue just to dab it down and hold it in place so that I don't have to be kind of pinning it or stitching it as I go. But if you want to use pins, you absolutely can. I just am not a lover of pins, even the little applique pin. So I'm just going to pop a tiny dab of glue along the edges. And the great thing with the Yoo-hoo is it's acid free and it's not going to cause stiffness or anything for your stitching. It's just going to help you hold your fabric in place without having to pin it. And I do also quite like using those little quilting clips. I'm just having a look. Have I got any within easy reach? I think I've got a container of them over here somewhere. Yes. I've got thread sticking to my finger. That is the one downside of using Yoo-hoo. You sometimes get a Yoo-hooed finger as well. And I'll just use one of these little quilty clips on here and just on the other edge as well. Oops, don't fall over Yoo-hoo glue stick. If it's a fabric pattern that's sort of got like a pattern to it where you want it to line up, you can just sort of check if it's broadly lining up, but we'll be stitching into it anyway. So yeah, I've made sure that I've overlapped the edge a bit, and on at least one of the ends where we're going to have like a little bit of overlap. When we put the pouch together, you'll just want to make sure there's some fabric there, or you can add some fabric at the end if you don't have enough where you need it. What do we want to go next? Well, we go with some of our yellow. Now I'll be overlapping another piece here, but I'll just show you first of all what we're going to do. So we're going to use our fingers, and you could use an iron here if you wanted. I haven't heated up my iron, so I'm just going to do it sort of finger folding. So I'm going to fold an edge over, and then I'm going to just overlap it over the raw edge, something like that, and just again overlapping a bit over the edge here. Now if you're happy with raw edges, you don't have to do this overlapping at all, and just to help myself out, I am just going to use a few tiniest little bits of Yoo-hoo glue to hold my folded edge down. I'm going to get rid of my little fringy bits of thread, and then I'm going to just put a few more little dabs on, particularly down the side that's going to have to fold over. Almost threw it into my cup of tea over there, as you do. And then I'll just line it up with this row here. And again, I'll fold it over. If I need to, I'll pull a little bit more, but I think that should be enough to have over the edge. And again, I can use my clip there and my clip here. Hopefully the camera is not having too much problem with the light. I've got a couple of lights on, but as I say, it's getting dark outside. Put a clip down here just to hold this mostly in place. Okay, so then at this corner, if we want to grab, maybe this is a great place where I can use a bit of this. Whether it will be quite long enough, I'm not sure. Will that be long enough, or will I just use a bit of this down here? That should work, I think, yeah. So how much do we need? It's nice sometimes to have something sort of, yeah, overlapping, so not make all the lines kind of line up. So I think something like that. Again, I will only put this down into my small scraps. And so this one will be a bit harder to finger fold over, so I will use the glue just to help me along with that folding over the edge. But again, feel free to use pins if you have an aversion to Yoo-hoo. It's just my favourite quick and easy way to be able to get things to stay in place while I am working with them. So yeah, I think that's going to work. I'll probably need to have that a bit further over, and then yeah, I'll be putting another piece there. That will work. And my lovely friend Sally from Dotty B, she's been showing some great ways that she just collages her sort of fabric that she's going to then stitch into and make lovely projects. She did a lovely project I was watching last night of what are you wearing today? Really sweet. So go and check Sally at Dotty B out over here on YouTube. I'll link to her as well. And also check out our lovely friend Christy as well, who's been doing some great projects, did a really beautiful doily holder video recently. Don't know if I might need to move that over a smidgeroo more. So yeah, don't feel like you can't combine in other fabrics as well. As I say, this is, there's a few more, I thought I was going to have to use paper clips, but there's a few more quilt clips around. But yeah, you can use non-cotton fabrics as well, for sure. And they just give you a different sort of, yeah, texture as well. I guess the only thing to check, which I didn't actually check with this, but I can easily check now, is that, yeah, make sure your needle won't have trouble going through it. You don't want to hurt your fingers just because you've used a fabric that's not that suitable for stitching through. And obviously here we are starting to build up a few layers, so you will want to just make sure that it's going to be okay for you. I think we can bring some orange in, unless I bring another bit of, I've got quite a few greens, don't I? Or I could bring in, I think because there's green already, maybe I do bring in the orange, or do I bring in my really bright orange? No, I think I'll bring this one in. Seeing there's already an edge that wants to fold over, I will use that one. And then I need a bottom edge folded in as well. And another way, if you didn't want to use pins, is you could be sort of basting it down, like with just a large sort of over stitching, a basting that you eventually pull out of the piece. So that's another option, or you could just stitch it down as you go. So you do you. I'm doing me, and you absolutely should do you. So, as I say, I don't want to have anything kind of meeting up exactly, so I think I'll probably put this one something like that. Again, it's probably not worth cutting it off at the edge, so unless I want to, what else? What different way could I do it? I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, they're scraps, right? So you don't have to get so precious with them. You don't have to get every single inch of fabric out of them. But isn't it interesting when you display something beautifully and kind of start to curate them together, they become precious to you, don't they? It's an interesting thing. And so you're actually binding your edges in the process of, yeah, putting this this collage together. Now, what next? Do we want a bit of a line element? It's sometimes nice to kind of break up the floral spots, etc., just to keep sort of thinking not just about the colours that you've got, but about the elements. If I'll cut this in half, or will I just use it in its, maybe I'll use it in its entirety. Maybe I don't need all of it, so maybe I'll take a little bit. Hope I haven't taken too much off the side. We shall see in a moment. Otherwise, we'll just use it somewhere else, won't we? Okay, what do we think? And I'll need to, yeah, I'll need to be able to fold that over. So we might end up using this one actually up here. Are we going to have enough edge to get under? Potentially, yes. Okay, let's do that maybe in a moment, unless I want to use it. I suppose actually I could use it here and then I'll put another piece in the middle. That's what I'll do. So, fly by the seat of my pants it is. That's how I do it. It's just me in my craft room and you're hanging out with me. Lovely crafty friends. I had someone leave a comment the other day and they said, you feel like when you're doing your videos, it's like you're talking to me as a friend. And I said, I am your friend. Might not be seeing you, might not be sitting face to face with you, but yeah, you're my stitchy friends. That's why I have my little Facebook group, our Facebook group called Slow Stitching Friends, because that's what we've become through this medium, through this thing that links us up across the world, and that we can. You might not be doing this project, you might be doing your own project, you might be having a cup of tea, you might just be relaxing, but we're connecting, aren't we? Connecting through creativity and a love of textiles and fabric, but just a kindness as well, the kindness that we show to each other. That's the other thing we're connecting through, which is so precious to me. It's why this is such a nurturing process for me to create, because of the connection and the kindness, and that's what I choose to focus on. That's where I put my energy on nurturing that, because we all have I reckon we all have our bit to play in keeping this slow stitching sort of community a really welcoming and kind and gentle and generous place. Slightly sticky fingers, but that's probably par for the course. Will I come in with another pop of that? I've got my orange, I've got my green, my yellow, my pinks. I've got a multicoloured piece over here, but no, I don't feel like I want to have that one. Don't think I want to have that one. Got my green, so yeah, I think this piece probably does want to go in somewhere, but maybe I put something in there. By the time I fold this over, I don't think I'm going to get much of it, so I think I'll keep that for when I get to the sort of the embellishing, the pouch stage, or for another one. I wonder about this one actually. Maybe this one I can fold both edges in and then use up the sort of center area. I'll need to fold the bottom in. And then I'll need to fold the sides in. So I'm thinking now that I've got my lolly jar, I might, yeah, once a week try and create a little pouch or other project using items from my lolly jar, and then that will be a lovely way to have a little stash of goodies to be able to gift to folks. It's a lovely way if you're wanting to just give a card and a small present to someone. You can put their card in the pouch, and that way they've got an envelope as well as a gift at the same time. And they've also got a little gift of your not only your creativity in the stitching, but also in your selection of fabrics, and probably a little bit of your past projects captured in the selection. So I'm going to put that one, let me just pull it down a bit so you can see. So I'm going to, again, just keep thinking about not having anything sort of lining up exactly. Again, I'm going to just keep using a little bit of my trusty Yoo-hoo. As I say, we'll probably do the stitching tomorrow, so or it'll be probably in tomorrow's video for you, or the next day's one, and so I'll be able to wash my hands after I've done my Yoo-hooing. So that way, if I do it across 2 videos, it gives you a bit of a time to get your base of your pouch made, and then we can come back and stitch into and put it together. So it's quite nice. Now I will, if that's my folded edge, I'll be able to just insert another bit of fabric under that, which I'll show you at the moment how you can do that. I don't think it's a problem that the design on this fabric would normally run across. I don't mind that it's sort of, yeah, coming that way. What do I want to put there? Do I want to put another little bit of yellow perhaps? Yeah, I think so. So as I say, because I've made a finished edge on this edge, although it is a little bit crooked, let's see if we can just straighten it a smidge. Not that it really matters, like we're not doing perfection, are we? Doesn't matter if it's a bit squibbly. I won't need to worry about the raw edge on this side, but I will need the bottom piece to be tucked over, so I may as well use this selvage edge to be the place I tuck under. And then I don't need to worry about the top because we're going to be tucking that under as well. So again, just put some Yoo-hoo on all the edges. And the other great thing about the Yoo-hoo is it's you can wash it and it washes out as well. But as I say, I never have any problem just leaving it on. It doesn't make it stiff or anything like that. It just yeah, it just gives a nice structure to it. Hope you can't hear my belly burbling. Must be anticipating dinner. I'm going to make some gyozas. Well, I've got some frozen gyozas in the freezer, and some rice and some marinated pork belly that I had in the freezer as well. And some vegetables, of course. Always got to have the veggies. Love my veggies. A bit like Travis. He absolutely, Travis the Black Labrador, loves his veggies. I love mine too. So, oops, that one's coming off. Let's just fold that one under as well. And I'll put one of my quilty clips on, hold it in place. That's the fabric. Oh no, it's some little, I was wondering what I could see, little greeny colours coming through, but I think it's actually from the fabric that's underneath it, so I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, what do we want in our top corner? Do we want do we want this one, or will we save, maybe we'll save this for the interior? Do we want a little bit of pink? Because we've only got sort of pink down here. Pink, yeah, I think we'll use a bit of this one, or use this one. let's take those little thready bits off. Let's tuck under one edge to start. Okay, and then we'll need to, oh no, in fact I've already folded that edge, so I can tuck this one underneath that one, and then I just need to leave enough to tuck over the top, which I think will be okay. Yes, goodie-o. So I'll just take that clip off for a moment while we do the tucking under. And that's a great thing with the Yoo-hoo, it absolutely lifts up, so if you need to sort of ever undo something that you've done, it's not going to be stuck hard, it's just holding it enough not to, yeah, not to sort of fall off the piece. So it is my favourite medium to use when I'm collaging fabrics. It's cheap as well. Usually buy it in bulk. I get a whole lot at the one time. Can probably tuck a bit more under just to make sure I've got enough of an edge. But again, if you like the scrappy, you do you and do the scrappy. I often do the scrappy where I leave the edges unfolded. I just wanted to kind of branch out and show you something different as well, if that's something that you prefer the look of. So I'm slightly off camera as I'm trying to fold these ones over. Again, where my edges are now sort of a bit more glued down further down, I can steal a couple of those quilt clips. Do you find if you've got those quilt clips, do they sort of go missing, just like needles go missing, pins, etc.? It's like you use them on something and leave them in, or they end up in a project pouch, and then you find a whole stash of them. Probably got some clipped on something near here, because I tend to sort of, yeah, clip them onto things. So that is how my collaged one side of my pouch fabric looks. I won't make you watch me collage the other side, because I'm basically going to follow the same method. I'm going to use the pieces that I've got left. If I need any more sort of variety, I'm going to jump into my stash, but I reckon this will be a pretty good amount to use, really. And then I'll come back in the next episode of this series, and we can do some stitching in, which could either just be some straight running cantha stitch, but I'll also give you some other ideas of some other decorative stitches you can do on your pouches, because on ones like this I did stitching that followed the design. I did little seed stitching, I did knots, I did cantha stitching, I did some where I just picked out some elements of the design. I did other ones with, yeah, seed stitches or granitos stitches. Lots of possibilities, but hopefully that's given you a bit of an idea of how you can curate your scraps and make them into attractive little lollies that you'll want to use in your stitching, and then an idea for how you can make a really beautiful pouch to gift to a friend, noting that we'll do the stitching and the putting together of the pouch in the next video. So I will get some stitching done on this piece, and I'll get my other piece collaged tonight, so when we come back next time we can, yeah, do some stitching and then put the pouch together. Thanks for watching, everyone, and let me know if you're going to be making your own lolly jar, and take care. Bye, everyone.